Hi guys, Elliot here with a Pokerstars 50 Zoom play and explain. Yeah, I've been putting in a lot of study recently, so let's see how we go. Hopefully we get in some interesting spots. And yeah, I think this is always such a good exercise to do, because it sort of just really sees where your thought processes are at with regards to different spots and sort of highlights any weaknesses that you might have, or maybe gaps is a better word. I think the last one I did was an ACR, but I kind of got like sketched out by all the chat about scams and bots and that. So I decided just to move back to stars. Although to be fair, the rake back is like super good in ACR. Yeah, I just decided to move away, and plus stars caption works as well, which is such a touch. If you're wondering what I'm listening to, Green Tea Peng, check her out. That's Green Tea Peng. She makes fucking bangers, boys and girls. So yeah, hopefully we run some nice spots. I think we'll go for about 45 minutes to an hour or so. And yeah, right now we're just trying to build up a little bit of bankroll online. So just sort of moving through the stakes again, and hopefully we'll end up at 200 Zoom again in the not so far future. I don't know if you can see it behind me. There's a suitcase. I'm moving out with my girlfriend tomorrow, so up to St Albans, which is just outside of London. Here on the left, so against this short stacker, I think I'm actually just going to fold this hand. I think we just want to play really strong hands and just get it in. Whereas I think King 9 suited performs a bit better with deeper stacks. And on the right here, Jack 5 suited is a call. Fives is a fold. Expecting a lot of small bets here. I think this hand is just so trash that I think we can just bet it small, and just fold out like anything that's better essentially. Yeah, I think it would just perform pretty well as well. My trips probably want to overbet. I want to have some like flush draw bluffs in there as well. But yeah, this hand just falls nicely into a small stab to try and take it down. And on the river, not bluffing, just give up. Maybe we sometimes beat some shit as well. But yeah, no, I think that's fine. And that is a very big bet. Six, seven suited. I'm going to fold these stakes, but I think we can open it like 25% of the time. And for those of you who haven't watched it yet, check out my last video with my buddy Gene. It's about sort of like masculinity, purpose, and he himself has been on a great journey and is doing a lot of good work now. So yeah, I'd highly recommend listening to it. There's a lot we can learn from it for sure. But yeah, obviously this video is going to be more focused on just poker strategy, and yeah, really trying to see where the gaps are in my game currently. Yeah, been putting in a lot of study. Haven't sort of focused on all of the spots yet, but just really been focusing on the main ones. So things like big blind defense, imposition versus big blind c-bet strategies, that kind of thing. Yeah, I just really want to test to see where I am with a lot of that stuff. King Deuce, I believe is an open, might be a bit loose. Maybe King 3 is bottom of our range, but King Deuce I think is fine. Before I played the session, I spilt coffee all over my desk, on my phone, on my mouse, on my keyboard, on my leg. So I got a wet leg. But yeah, hopefully that means we'll get some run good in this session, as we've got our bad luck out of the way for the day. So ace 9-9. I think this is a board where we're just going to bet small for very high frequency. We do have some 9x and also a lot of strong ace-x, which he probably doesn't have. So I think this bet just performs pretty nicely, and we can still get called by tons of hands that are worse. He min raises, which obviously not in love with at these stakes. This guy's in it as well, but for the min raise, we're not going to fold. Could be doing this with worse ace-x. Look at my note. Check raise low pocket pairs on paired boards. Call again here. King's a bit of a brick. Hopefully he just checks back. Happy to check this back. I imagine he's maybe got a hand like ace 10 or like 8, 7, 6s based on my note. Ace 10 suited here. So we're going to be betting really polarized on this turn. We're going to have lots of like things like 6-5 of diamonds that we can overbet here for sure. Ace 10, I'm not quite sure gets into that category, as we do have some showdown. I'm going to check this one. With diamonds, we definitely do it. I think we'll just check cool. So you bet it's like 66%, 70%. Gonna call. Could be a bit stationary. We have the same hand. I'm not sure whether that call's good on the turn. I'll look at that spot afterwards. Ace queen here. Could squeeze. Probably get a lot of calls from this player here. I think we'll just call this one. Flop top pair, which is nice. Checks through super quickly. I think we'll bet with top pair here. And here, with the ace 4 off, we will raise. Now I'm just actually going to fold this. It's just never a bluff. So 8-5-6, so we definitely need to have a lot of checks on this board. I think with the 4, I don't mind betting, and I think we are going to bet big when we do bet here. Now, so on this turn, I think it's actually pretty bricky. If we bet here, we don't want to get jammed off our equity, but we still can make him fold better hands. I think I'm going to check it. And he just jams all in. I'm going to fold it. Made my decision easy on the river there. Because I think I might have done the same thing with ace 4 off. King queen suited. I'm just going to 3-bet. I'll look at ace 4 again. So these offsuit combos pre-flop, I think at these stakes especially, people are definitely over-folding the small blind to the big blind 3-bet, and they're not 4-betting enough. And I think it just performs really well. Now, for me at least, some of the spots you can get into can be a bit tricky because you're getting to these boards with like a wider range than 3-bet pot. Now, on 8-5-6, it's a board where we're going to be checking back a lot. So like Ace King, for example, would check back. Ace Queen, most likely too. But I think with the 4, it gets over the line to bet here. So with the gut shot. And when we do bet, I think that we want to bet big. The beauty of this bet is that it should fold out a lot of his better Ace X. And even hands like, you know, like Ace 6, Ace 5, I imagine these X even probably fold as well. Ace 8 probably doesn't. So we bet big, he calls. So he's going to have all the sets still, remember, and he's going to have a wider range too. We'll 3-bet this one, and 8s we'll check back. I don't think we can fold the 8s on a versus range bet. Good turn for my range. Against the 4-bet, we're just going to fold. Just very marginal spots at these stakes, and I'm not sure it's where you make our money. So I think 75% by him's good. Jack 8 suited, I think we'll open Jack 9. I think I'm just going to fold this pure bluff catcher. Lots of uncomfortable river spots. So when we bet big, so we know that his range now, so his range is tightened up by the turn. So we check, turn goes check, check. Then he just jams. Really not sure what to make of that. Think it could definitely be good, but I'm not sure, so I'll check it out afterwards. I guess he's saying that he just got boats, which he could definitely have. But obviously, yeah, with Ace 4 off, we just can't fold. 10 deuce deuce. Really nice hand here. I think we're just going to bet small. There's going to be lots he has to continue with. Even though that we do block 10x, we can still get called by 2x, which is really nice. Draws. So I don't think we block the board as much as we think in terms of what he has to call with versus this bet. Yeah, interesting spot. I think we might have to barrel turn here as well. And I think having the 4 is actually quite nice because he's not going to have much 4x. And it unblocks so all of the Broadway combos, which we totally unblock with this combo. Yeah, we'll check it out afterwards. Queen 6 suited is a fold. Yeah, guys, I'm looking forward to moving out of London, actually. Loads of like nice sort of like farmers markets and that in St. Albans. Found a good gym. I play a lot of golf as well. Or have played a lot of golf, not since I've been in London, so I'm looking forward to getting back on the golf course too. If any of you guys play golf, by the way, give me a shout, because I'm going to start trying to play more and more. And there are some nice courses up in St. Albans. Not too much action so far. We've got the aces. No action there. And then in terms of the rest of the year, so I'm really going to focus on YouTube a bit more. Really focus on my poker. Ace 8 off. I don't think it's a mistake to fold it. Maybe call Ace 9. Versus cut off. It's close. What was I saying? Yep, so for the rest of the year, so I've got a mate's stag do in Nashville, Tennessee next year. At the end of this year, so I'm going to try and mix in a trip to Vegas for a month or so before then, which I'm looking forward to. So ace 10 off, I think it's right on a threshold where if we bet, worse ace x folds, but better ace x calls. And all we do by betting here is just fold out the parts of his range that would fold anyway, that we dominate. So I think it's fine to check this one back. For example, if like a 10 comes, you know, we're going to get some money out of king 10 if the 10 hits. Check it through. And yeah, exactly. So if a 10 came, we certainly would have got some money there. I think that reasoning makes sense. And yeah, hopefully as I do more and more of these videos, you know, that the whole idea is just that as I become a more proficient poker player, the way that I express why I'm doing what I'm doing should improve as well, which I think is very important, and it's I think a good goal to have and a good outcome to strive for outside of just looking at, you know, win rates and that kind of thing. Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. 6-5 suited, which is cool. Probably 3-bet sometimes. King queen off. We don't really want to squeeze it with this player. With the guy in the big blind as well, I'm just going to call it the wreck. And 5-6 suited is a really easy fold. So on that king 8-8 board, if he checks, I think this is the type of hand that we can bet for a polar size, because again, it just benefits from folding out hands with equity against us. So something like Jack 7 of diamonds. These hands are going to fold, right? Which is great for this hand. Check on the left. 8-5 suited. This guy's super, super tight as well. But I don't think we can fold. Do we ever mix into 4-bet? Maybe sometimes, but we'll just call this one. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to fold it exploitably. It doesn't make sense to call this one. We're not comfortable on an ace, and like unless we hit trip 5s. Doesn't make sense. Just those spots with the nits, it's just it doesn't make sense to get involved with them. Like the EV of our hand goes down if the range that they're 3-betting with is just queens plus. So it looks very tight, but there is some method to the nitness. And that's why what's really nice is that when you do start getting more into GTO, exploits become a lot clearer. Like exploitative play and GTO play aren't like the opposite of each other. They're not opposed to each other. Like they're almost the same thing in a funny way, where if you have a sound understanding of GTO, then methods on how to exploit then become clearer to you, because you know what the optimal line is and what your opponent should be doing in certain spots. 9-8 suited will call. Interesting board. I think we could probably lead at some frequency. But we'll check this time. Yeah. He goes for larger size. Nothing to do but call here. Bad turn for range. I think 10-8 off is the bottom of our 10-8 range that will open here, so 10-9's fine. Now when he checks turn, he's going to have ace-x, ace-queen, so we want to make those hands indifferent, and I think a small bet here does that. Something like queen-jack of spades, and he just snaps the 7s, which is fine. Not sure about that spot. So one of the spots that I want to start looking at more are those spots where it goes like check, bet, call, check, check. And then which hands that we should be looking to bluff on the river. And then in terms of value bets, what size that we should be bluffing. So trying to find some sort of like heuristics around that is what I'm going to be focused on in my sort of study sessions. Where's that hand? 5-6 suited will fold this time. Sometimes his hands don't show up. It's quite annoying. Nine 8 suited. So 4 deuce 5. I think I like his bet on the flop. I think it's a good size. Because we have to call hands like this. So ace 5-3, we are going to have some check backs. I think this hand falls quite nice into the check back range. There'll be small bet 5-3 stuff to call. I think we can check this back, but I imagine it mixes. So when he checks back, I think for the same reason we want to check it again. If we block, he still can have ace X, and he could have just turned some jack X as well. So it doesn't make too much more sense to bet here. So he definitely has more 3x than us here. And against this big bet, three bet on the left, slightly smaller size because they've gone smaller. That's going to fold. So yeah, so we call the like 66% pot bet, it looks like. So we call. Clear check for us here. Good turn for his range. So he checks, which I think makes a lot of sense. And now it's this bit here is where I struggle, is like figuring out so which hands we bluff, which hands we don't. I don't think I mind betting here, to be honest, but it's just about the size, because what are we saying we have with this small bet? So we call the flop. Check, check, turn. Yeah, maybe I've just got a lot of bluffs here. It could even be an overbluff. I'll check it out afterwards. I think it's a pretty interesting spot. So 8-9 queen. So here we'll be betting big, or checking. So we need lots of checks on this board as well, I think, especially multi-way, which I only just realised again. Jacks versus under the gun, we can just call. Not as appealing against the bigger size, but I think it was cool anyway. The queen's here again, we'll check. So we're ahead of... So we dominate their range that isn't a king X, basically, which is enough to check this back. So it performs really nicely as a check back. Against the one big blind bets, we're not going to be doing much folding with queens. On the left here, we'll just fold. With these fish, it's so weird. Like the 6-5, you see. So here it's like he's just trying to basically see a cheap show, that like a cheap card with his gut shot. Oops. So King 6-0, Jack 10 deuce. This is a board where we definitely can mix. And I actually like half pot or check. And with the King 6 suited, I am going to bet half pot. But I think there's arguments for going for smaller size, larger size here. But we just need to make sure that we have checks too. The ace is interesting. A lot of our range improves on it. I think we're going to bet big again, or bet for normal size. So we're still going to have 10x that will fold. 7s, 8s. I'm not sure if Jack X folds yet. Now King 6 suited. I'm trying to think whether we give up or not. Would you have to have some give ups here? He's got the ace deuce, which I don't think he would have folded. What is quite interesting is that when you look at GTO, like turn barrels, for example, so or even flop bets, like which is why they perform so well at lower stakes. Like the hands that villain should be calling in like a lot of spots, it's much wider than what they should actually call in real life. So when we do double barrel, we just need to be super careful, especially 3-bet pots as well, because the hands that they should get there with, they don't always get there with, which makes their ranges like a lot narrower. So we need to be pretty smart in the spots that we take. But they're villain there. I mean, yeah, it's really some calling deuce on the flop standard, calling turn bet standard. And yeah, I think the give up's fine, but again, I'll check. Another one of those river spots where I'm not too sure. Because I think having the king's nice, but having the 6 isn't. Well, I'm not even sure whether the 6 is relevant. We'll 3-bet the king, queen on the left here. God, I'm playing so nitty over 220 hands. So we can 4-bet this some of the time. I think it's even a pure 4-bet. Do it this time. Don't like doing it against fish as much for some reason. So on 7-7-8, we'll start with a small bet here. On the turn, I think we can just check it back. I'm still ahead a lot of his range. What do we get called by when we bet here? Not sure. Hopefully we can show the ace queen down against something like king queen, king jack. Wow, okay. Let's see what he had. King queen off. Interesting. So king 10 queen. We're just miles ahead of his range here. And having the king spade is nice because we block king queen. Though he can have lots of other queen X. I think I'll just start with small bet against a weaker player. And we get immediately check raised. I'm actually just going to fold. I just don't think they find the bluffs. We'll check this back again. So we've got a pair of 8s here. I don't see the merit in bluffing this. Maybe bluff him off like a 9 or a jack. Weak queen X, which you can still definitely have. Okay. I don't think that's too passive. Ace 5, okay. So if we bet 8-7 here, he folds this hand, Ace 5, which we just beat anyway. And we sort of restrict ourselves to getting called by hands which are better than us, or at the very least have tons of equity against us. Ace Jack off, so King 10 Jack. I think Ace Jack bet sometimes here. It will mix though. Probably prefers it with the Ace of Diamonds. Hand like Ace 9, I check back there. Or is Ace 9 a good example? Or even a hand like Ace 8. Makes a lot of sense to check back, but Ace Jack, Ace Queen could probably bet. Ace King, you know, I think obviously Ace King will bet. I think it makes sense. 9s. Well, cool. So here we just have all the strong King X. We have lots of 10X as well. Whereas his range is just a lot wider, which I think is why we can bet a small size. But maybe King 10-7 does prefer a half pot or check strategy. So we've called, so limp, raise, call. He's gone half pot. We'll call one against the fish. He checked, which is interesting. 4-5. Dude, these fish do some mad shit, man. We'll go for about another 10 more minutes, guys. I hope you're finding it interesting. So yeah, but yeah, always open to feedback on these videos. And yeah, you know, the mistakes that you might see, let me know. But I'm not very interested in, oh, you know, you should have bet here, you should have checked there. That's not good, that is good. I'm much more interested in the thought process behind why you think a certain action is better or worse. This is weird. Yeah, I'm more interested in the thought processes than anything else, really. This is weird. He's gone 5 big blinds. Is he just going to have ace here every time? I think I should probably stack off with ace king suited. They just do weird stuff, these fish. But yeah, hoping to get some poker players onto the channel soon as well to discuss their journeys, because a lot of them have had very interesting journeys. And yeah, the conversations I have with them, like outside of, you know, YouTube or in real life, so to say, very interesting. So so this board we're gonna C bet small or check. King 10 suited, I think, would bet this time. Daytime turns to night. This is the holy fight. This is the holy fight. Yeah, so yeah, hopefully, yeah, I'll be able to get some of those guys on. Some of these guys play, you know, pretty high stakes as well. I was with them out in Vegas, so they can sort of like tell us all about the experiences of what that feels like, the ups and downs, etc., etc. Starting to think about what I'm going to have for lunch. I can hear my stomach grumbling. Bloody starving. But we'll go for another 10 minutes. Give the people what they want. Queen Jack off's an open. So again, this would be a board where we see bet small or check. I like check on this one. So I feel like if we bet this hand, we only get better to call. And we're still ahead of the hands that we make fold, if that makes sense. So let's check it down, and we get loose with King Jack, which is fine. Oath bet here, very polarized in this turn. Flush draw. I think that's fine. And again, I think that spot in game at these stakes prints check, check, oath bet turn. When you're out of position. I'll actually run a filter to see how profitable that action is. Because people just don't check back weak, you know. Check back strong. I say sometimes they have the absolute nuts. Like the balance isn't quite there. Although for some players, to be fair, it is. But for most at these stakes, it just isn't. Which is why, like when you see like there's some of the guys who play like 200 zoom, 500 zoom, and the high stakes guys, they'll be talking about their frequencies a lot. But to beat these stakes, it is just not necessary. It's just really not necessary. King 8 suited will open. Just going to get that Queen Jack hand back up. So ace, do 7. Sorry guys, if you can hear my stomach, incredible. So you'll see a lot of players, they'll just c-bet this board pure, which is fine, which I think works really nicely at these stakes. But these ace high boards also need checkbacks, right? Because, for example, what would be like a hand that would be checking back almost pure on this board? Kings. And why is that? Because we don't want to isolate ourselves against ace-x, and also we crush the rest of his range. Therefore, it doesn't make sense to bet that hand. Top left here, 3-bet pot. We'll probably start with a small bet. Shouldn't have ace queen, shouldn't have ace king. And on the right here, we'll just overbet turn with a flush draw. So as I was saying, so king doesn't make sense. So if it checks down, we win so much against the rest of his range. Whereas if we bet, we don't isolate ourselves against king X, then you can start getting into funny spots on turns and rivers. But we need other checkbacks as well. So a hand like Queen Jack, for example, I think how this spot works is if we bet, we just fold out hands that that we dominate anyway. So if we fold out, let's say Jack 8 off, King 10 suited, I think it's 3-bet. Queen 7 suited. I think Queen 8 suited is lowest. Yeah, Queen 8 suited. So here, so if we fold out like, or even like Jack 8 of diamonds, for example. Start the check on the left, and on the right, actually, I'm going to start with check. You can have stronger King X for sure. So Jack 8 of clubs on here calls, let's say, turns a jack. Now, we're going to get money off the weaker jack X, but whereas if we bet, we just fold out all of the rubbish. Not to mention, sometimes we win when this checks down. Easy call on the left. He checks back. Interesting. Light block or check again. Actually, light check. Sorry, that was a bit rushed, but I hope that made sense, guys. It's that really small block here. I think there is some value to be had. He overbets. I don't think we fold a pair and a flush draw. And he had ace queen. Hand worked out pretty nicely. Don't think we can fold here. Can we have a jam? He's overplayed his hand massively there. I think. Or has he? It feels like a mistake, his hand. So, open call. Or maybe that's only because I had a flush. He bets half pot, which I think is fine. We call, which is fine. Standard. We check. He overbets. I think the overbet's a mistake with his hand. We call. And then we nit rolled him on the river. Yeah, I think overbet's a bit too strong. Maybe with like your ace high king high flush draws you can overbet, but with a 4 high flush draw, I think just a large size performance better. Yeah, for sure. Got the heart though, got the heart. Or maybe blind versus blind, it's okay. Not sure. I'll check it out. Alright guys, I'm going to sit out next big blind. My stomach is saying that I need food now. But yeah, anyway, guys, you know, I hope you enjoy these videos. I certainly enjoy making them. It really, really helps me. And also, you know, there's a bit of pressure when you put these things out to make sure that you're playing well, you know, playing your A game. And if this is the best representation of my A game, and I'm still making a few mistakes, for me, that's a perfect result. So the fish here leads from the big blind. I think they do this a lot with draws. Do I want to raise king to off much of the time? He's got a lot of stronger king X, but I don't know if he... I think we'll do this, because we can definitely get called by worse. He snap calls. It's going to click it back again. Hopefully he checks now. Fucking hell. Alright, you got me, buddy. You got me. These spots just confuse the hell out of me. Like, what I did there was probably a punt, but I think it just works quite nicely instead of having to... I feel like when you have a bit more control of the pot, it's easier to play. Whereas if they start firing off and you've got a marginal holding, it's no fun because you just have no idea where you are. You could be way ahead or just miles behind. All right, guys. Yeah, great stuff. Hope you enjoyed it. Please do check out the last video. I think it's really, really, really good. And yeah, we're going to be pushing out sort of more content, even though I'm not the biggest fan of that word, but pushing out more information, let's say, across the back end of this year now. So yeah, there's looks to look forward to, and I will see you on the next one once this big blind is set out. Cheers, guys. See you later. Bye bye.